Hello, how are you?
Sorry, there was a big thing in front of your face. I had to click.
Oh, how are you? Hi, Corinne, how are you?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good, good. Do you want to know something cool? My sister's name's Corinne, but
Oh, is it?
yeah, but it's spelt weird. Like my parents did this weird thing with it. Like they spelled it Corene, like
Oh,
green instead of
yeah.
yeah. But anyway,
Everyone thinks my name's weird because it's spelled Carine,
yes,
but I don't
yeah,
know.
Corinne. But you pronounce it Corinne, yeah.
Kareen.
Oh, Corrine. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So you have the Corrine as well. Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I like it. I really like it.
Yeah.
How are you both going?
Yeah,
Old?
good. Yeah, good. Just like what is it? Third day of school holiday, so it's a bit all over the shop at the moment. I'm just driving kids around. You know how it
Oh, it's a
is.
bit of a juggle, isn't it?
It's a juggle. Yeah, yeah. They're both offered their like camp and training now, so I'm like, okay, all right, this is good. Get some peace.
Yeah, I don't have peace. Mine are at home.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is it. Yeah, I'm gonna book them in.
Yep. No, they're up there in the house, and I've got, the two are separated. I've got one in one area and one in the other, so they don't fight.
It's relentless lately. I don't know about you guys, but the last, I don't know, 2 weeks, they've just been like my two have been at each other as well. It's
Same.
I think end of term
yeah,
they get a bit
yeah,
like they're
Yeah.
tired. Like I'm tired, they're tired, like everyone's tired. Just need
yeah.
a break.
No,
Yeah.
it's full on. How many children do you have, Corinne? Two?
I have two. I have
Mm.
a 13-year-old boy and
Yeah.
a almost 9-year-old girl.
Yeah, amazing. And Angelica, how many? You've got two as well,
I
two.
got two, yeah. So a 9-year-old boy and a 13-year-old girl.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that's the way around. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi,
So,
Tanya. How you
Hi.
going?
Good.
That's
hi.
good. Bit cold where you are?
A little bit fresh, a little bit fresh.
Uh, I'm heading down to Sydney at the end of the week, and I'm not looking forward to, to the cold.
Yeah,
Uh,
you'll need some warm slippers,
Extra layers. Yeah.
extra layers, yeah. It's last night it said it was 11 degrees, but it said it felt like 3, but I think it felt less than that. The
Oh,
wind is really cold.
yeah.
Whereabouts in Sydney are you, Tanya? I'm from Sydney.
Oh, I'm in Newcastle, like up from
Oh,
yeah,
oh, New South, yeah,
yeah.
very good. Excellent. Yeah, no, I'm up here on Bribey now, but yeah, it's too cold down there.
Yeah, no, today is fresh.
Uh, um, It, yeah, I put my slippers on just this last night, and I was walking and my like knocked my knee and I like completely flared up. So I've like been
Oh,
like dealing with I don't know, something going on with my knee. But I was like, maybe it was the slippers.
blame the slippers.
Yeah. Uh, Oh, well, I'm excited for today because I don't know if I've told you like the process that things have kind of came in for the like teaching this. Like I had to sit in meditation like multiple times and like get my journal out and like I'd kind of get what they were referring to as like transmissions. And then each week they want me to come back and sit back into meditation and then go back into the Akashic records. And when I go into the Akashic records, I kind of like they show me almost like this circle, look like a table, like a big wooden kind of table, and then they kind of like place themselves in all the directions and I sit in the middle. And then I kind of like go into a spiral thing. And then as I'm kind of going through the transmission that I received, then more information keeps coming through. So it's been a bit of an interesting process. It's like, this is what I think you guys need, but I'm just, receiving what you need in a very different way. So it's been like, yeah, quite an interesting process. And then before we open, the call, I have to open up the Akashic field for us too, specifically for the Akashic Path program. So yeah, it's been a very interesting process. So I just wanted to share that with you because it's been hi Mon. Yeah, a not your traditional way of like putting a program together, that's for sure. And hey Candice, how you going?
Good, good. Just
Nice
getting.
and nice and warm over there. We're talking about how cold it was here.
Oh, yeah. No, it was let's see. Hang on, I can tell you. I think it was 85 today. So
Amazing.
not too bad.
What's
Not
that
too
in, what's that in
Yeah,
Celsius?
Celsius.
Oh, I forgot. I don't know the conversion. It's not too hot. Let me put it that way. It's like the perfect temperature. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. Nice. Look at you and you're sleeveless. Uh, Kerry said that she wasn't able to make it, but she's going to catch the replay. Um, so just want to double check my. We might just start anyway, because we've got a little bit to get through, and as they come in, we'll yeah. Okay, cool. All right. I'm going to share my screen. I was just saying, Candace, Mon, that the process like where all this information has like come through, like I had to sit in meditation, receive each of the transmissions, and then before each week I have to open up the records again, specifically for the Akashic Path, and then I get more information to then kind of break it down into segments to teach. And then when we jump on the call, I open up the Akashic records specifically for the Akashic Path program. So yeah, it's been a very kind of interesting kind of way to, I always think, oh, this is how I need to teach it, but then they keep showing me different ways to kind of break it down. So just letting you know, it's not just me. It's like, yeah, it's the Akashic Light Council that keep coming through, and I'll explain a little bit more about them today too. Okay, let's share my screen. Cool. Amazing. Well, I am so excited. Number two, transmission number two. It doesn't feel like modules or weeks. It feels like transmissions because that's how they've kind of been coming through. And I just want you to invite, if you have your candle, just to go ahead and light it now.
Can I interrupt you and let you know there's an eagle flying right over my house right now, just to let you know, which is really super cool. My husband was trying to tell me, he's like, look.
Oh, that is amazing. I am such a fan of eagles, like the air guardians
Oh,
coming.
I love eagles. They're so
Yes, flying around as we're doing this right now.
I love that. I love that.
Can I say something as well?
Yeah, of course.
I had a python snake outside our bedroom, like our bedroom balcony, a couple of days, was it 2 days ago?
Yeah.
And it was beautiful, like huge and beautiful, and kind of just sitting outside on the balcony. So that was really cool too.
Oh, that's amazing because that's really interesting.
Shedding black.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because our group code, I've finally got a group code. Hey, Brooke, how you going? There's Brooke. Is she coming in? Anyway, she'll come in. Yeah, so if everyone's got your candle, just go ahead and light it now. And what this small kind of act does, it just really anchors us into this moment, into the presence. Beautiful. Well, this week we're going to talk about how to receive and create a clear channel. And it's a bit different from like just, I know most of you are all quite intuitive, very tapped in. You can really pick up so much. But the way that the Akashic Records works is a little bit different. So it's soul language and soul frequency. So that's why I just need to talk about receiving a little bit more. But before we do, I really want to share our group code. Yay, here it is. So this is what I was trying to get last time.
Snake.
Yeah, it's a snake. So I just thought, having this code for us, and Mon, it was interesting. I put your color one in, and I had to, I cleared the black background and kept it like all like black and white as well, but I still love like the stones and the mandala that kind of came through as well. So yeah, I just really think it's such a beautiful blend of each and every one of you. And you know, when I look at the Phoenix Candace, it's, you know, it's just that rebirth and power. You know, Brooke, you've got this beautiful lotus in the middle, which is just like this feminine rising. And Angelica, your one's this one here, isn't it? That's like that feminine divine healing kind of aspect. Kerry's was like, I still feel like it looks like a rune, but it feels like when I keep tuning into it, like some sort of ancestral protection that keeps coming through. Um, you know, the six-pointed star, that's all about sacred union. Uh, Corrine, like yours is like, it really feels like these infinity symbols are like these soul cycles. And Tanya, your triangle, like of, I really think of like, and then the like the lines above it, like a conscious kind of like elevation, which is exactly what we're kind of doing. Mon, like this mandala, it just feels like inner wholeness, like when I look at it and I just think, oh, like yeah, and then obviously the Oropus, so this like eternal kind of becoming was coming through as well. So
Excuse
um
me, Tara.
yeah,
Can I just add in? Last week I noticed how many triangles there are in so many of them. And if you look,
right.
there's just so many triangles.
There is, isn't there? There's one yours, obviously, and then there's like, you know,
Yeah,
all
there's
the stuff
heaps.
around there. There's one here and there's one up in here. There's one in here. Yeah, there are. Yeah, so true. Yeah. And I just really think it's, you know, such a like yeah, it felt like rising, remembering, returning was just something that really emulated from there. Did anyone have anything else that they wanted to share about what they see in the code?
I shared this with Tara, but I really get like an Egyptian energy. And then especially like whenever the only Egyptian symbol showed up later on, I was like, oh my gosh, like that's so supported. Um, but I noticed so many similarities with, it's very connected. Like everything seems to be very connected within itself. Even the one that kind of reminds you of the one with the triangle and the lines, it's
Uh,
still
yeah.
about divine connection.
Mm,
So I feel like they're all
mm,
intertwined.
yeah. So now that we've got all of our codes together, I just want to activate that group code now. I know we did it last week, but because it didn't have a couple of hours like showing, which obviously was for a reason as well. But I just want you just to just focus on your code as well. So even if you want to keep your eyes open for this, that's completely fine. If you feel like you want to close your eyes too, that's cool as well. But I just want you to see your personal symbol. And I just want you to look at it, hold it in your heart, and just feel it pulse. Feel it come alive. And just imagine that symbol joining the others, becoming part of the greater circle that's holding our group. Just sense our collective field, our safe space for receiving, for remembering. And as we activate it, I'm just going to do a bit of light language as it comes through. If anyone wants to jump in, pop in, share theirs, or any kind of blessings, please do. E taraka tarau conte, e karaka ke ka shukututa ke kentara kesa, e kante haujukutunte reka, hajakutur kantara ha. Feels beautiful. It feels like it's moving. It's like the snake keeps moving around it almost. Does anyone else would like to add anything, any words as we activate this? Any light language? Beautiful. Okay. So, Karina, I thought you were going to come in.
I was going to, and then I thought, oh, I don't know. I can if you want me to.
Um, we'll just hold it in our hearts. And yeah, amazing. I almost like felt like the code was kind of like the snake was kind of like moving around and around, and like all of them actually started to kind of come into like 3D kind of format for me as well. So that's great. Amazing. Um, so let's go into so last week we kind of explored the soul's journey and what the Akashic records really are. So we know that they're not like this, excuse me, distant book in the sky, but this living, breathing kind of frequency that lives within you. And we also talked about, how your DNA actually holds the codes of the Akashic field and that you are already connected to it. And that this work is about remembering, and it's not about like reaching or going into or accessing. It's like remembering and bringing that into your heart, into your space. So today we're going to move into that next layer, which is all about receiving and creating a clear channel. Um, so before we dive in, let's just take a moment just to set an intention for today. And so you might just place your hand on your heart and just simply say, I am open to receiving what my soul is ready for. I'll repeat that again. I am open to receiving what my soul is ready for. And that's it. Just openness. So let's begin. So I really want to talk about receiving and the word receiving. And when I was sitting in my transmission, I was like, why is receiving so hard? Like, why can it feel so hard? And it kept taking me back to the scene. And this is like what I was trying to kind of encapsulate in what I was actually being shown. But as women, we've often been taught directly or indirectly that our value comes from giving, from nurturing, from being the one who has it all under, you know, that you're handling it all. So when it's our turn to receive, what happens generally is that guilt kind of creeps in, or we feel unworthy, or we just feel uncomfortable. I think many of us were raised to believe that being like a good girl means giving your time, your energy, and your love without asking for much in return. And when we do receive, it does trigger that guilt and that unworthiness. Or like what I do, well, used to do a lot was just give it quickly back, or I'd give them back something to kind of exchange as well. So, some of the beliefs that we might be carrying is that like, I need to earn this, or if I take this, I'll owe them. The biggest other one that came through was receiving is selfish. And for me, I know this is one that I worked through quite a lot, was it's safer to just do it myself. So does it sound familiar? Yeah. And there's often this like deep ancestral kind of memory woven into our systems where receiving was like tied to danger, to obligation, to control. And for centuries, women weren't allowed to own land. We weren't allowed to make money or even make choices about, their bodies. So energetically, receiving wasn't safe. And now, for many of us, still kind of carry that pattern in our nervous system, in our cells, and that collective memory still like lives in all parts of our bodies and energetic bodies. So what we tend to do is we overfunction. We give until we're completely depleted, and we brush off compliments very quickly. And some people can notice that we're not doing okay, and you're like, I'm fine, when we're so not. And we push away the very things that we say we want, because the act of receiving can feel so foreign, or even like activate something unconsciously that might even feel kind of threatening. But here's the truth. Working with the Akashic Records requires you to be in a receiving state. So we must become really good receivers. And, the records doesn't respond to force. It responds to a lot of softness, to openness, and to trust. So I just want you to take a moment just to even think about your upbringing. Like, did you grow up around people who kind of modeled like open, healthy receiving? Or was it more of a like, no, I got this kind of energy? And I know for me, even now, when my mum, like when we go out for lunch and she insists on paying, I'm like, no, 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 I've got this, I've got this. And then there's like, we're constantly getting our cards out and like trying to tap the machine before before each other. And it's like my nervous system like needs a moment to kind of soften and allow it. And that's a big block that I've had to really work on, opening to receive as well. So I'm just curious, like, how about you? Like, if you could kind of think about, when did you first start to notice this kind of dynamic in yourself? Like, was there, say, a moment or an age where you became more aware of how you respond when someone wants to give you something or help or compliment or support? I just want you to take a breath and just tune into that. And just because being able to receive, especially in the records, it's a practice. And so what we're doing is we're kind of creating a bit of awareness. So um do we just want to jump on, like, if anyone wants to share anything that they kind of resonate with receiving and maybe that block around receiving? Is any kind of thing coming through for them as we're sitting in this awareness?
I think for me, like with the receiving stuff, like it's sort of been something that's been ongoing through my whole life with that because of my mom and how I'm sort of raised. It's like, well, you're not meant to be asking for help. Like, that's not a good thing. Like, you don't talk about family issues with people because I came from a really small town in Sweden as well. So everyone knows everyone kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's sort of been ongoing. But I think maybe for me, when I noticed that was when I had my children. Like that's then that kind of started for me, like realizing that you kind of just like give a lot, but you don't give so much to yourself. So that's been sort of like having to work on that. That's obviously something that I still work on, but
Yeah, so you were modeled that as you grew up with your mum, and then when you had children, that dynamic played out again, and you've come to be more aware of it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
interesting, isn't it?
like when you're saying that now, like I kind of like didn't even realize it, but you're kind of realizing it like later that that's kind of what you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's something similar where I, what came to mind was age 5 and just the behavior around me, both from my mother. Well, for me, I had to be very independent at a very, like, just super young age. And so there was no space to receive. It was just more about what you can do for yourself. And then I watched, my mother who is in healthcare, like giving all the time to her patients because she was in the NICU or the really severe patients, and then my grandmother even on my dad's side. So opposing sides of this of the stream, but essentially, both of them just gave and gave and gave until they had nothing else to give. And so that's what I felt I had to do is like give and give and give until I'm just like so exhausted that I can't give anymore.
Mm. Yeah. And that's it. That's we do burn out, don't we? Like when we give and we're not in receiving, that energy becomes so blocked. It's like the flow, the circle of the flow just becomes blocked, and that becomes, possibly, a survival mechanism that kind of created from, early childhood as well too.
Yeah. I think for the first time in my life in the last like 4 years have been able to receive without doing like what you were saying, where it's like I instantly feel like I need to give back to someone if they give to me. Like I'm always like, oh, but I gotta give back.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that really resonated.
I'm very much the same as both of you. I'm an only child, and both my parents were, they fought a lot when I was younger. And I was very independent, had to do everything for myself. But my mum's also a very stubborn woman, and my dad was pretty useless. And Yeah, she did everything herself, and she is still like that to this day. And my grandmother, exactly the same with the tapping, like, no, I'll pay. In fact, my mum just did it at Disney on Ice. She wouldn't let me pay for anything. And she's like, no, 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 I'll pay. And I think for her, it's the same thing. She feels like if you do something, like she owes you something back. And I think I've grown up with that same mentality, even, with, boyfriends when I was younger. I wanted to pay for myself because I didn't want to owe them anything. I wanted to be independent and I can do everything myself. And like, I don't let people mind my kids very often because, I'm just very, I don't know, independent. I just do everything myself, or my husband will help me. But yeah, receiving's always been a hard one for me, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing. And so as we kind of move forward, like just notice where you are resisting receiving, particularly in your life. And it seems like, there's this mother lineage link, whether it is on the mum's or dad's side, but there's definitely, a link with some of the women. And we're going to activate the receiving later on. So I'll even start to kind of incorporate, and I've been writing some notes just to start to clear some of that ancestral lineage burdens that we've kind of been carrying as well. But just, yeah, start with more awareness, because the more you're able to open yourself to receive, the more that you're able to kind of hold the frequency of the records. And so this is part of the healing. It's part of like the rewiring. And I just want to say, like, receiving, it's your birthright. You don't need to earn it. Like you are entitled to it, very much so. So, just imagine, like, for yourself, like if I did open myself to receiving right now, without the guilt, without the resistance, like just imagine for a moment just how that feels in your body, like just noticing maybe your body kind of soften into that aspect of receiving. I'm getting a lot of resistance. So yeah, we'll do some activation a little bit later on, but I just wanted to kind of like just open us up a little bit more on our awareness on receiving. So let's really talk about what it really means to receive, not just in your mind or in relationships, but just your entire being as well. Because we often kind of think spiritual work is kind of like all up there in the ethers, but in truth, like the deeper your roots, the clearer your channel is. So groundedness is what really allows your energy field to kind of expand safely and clearly. So if you are ungrounded, if you are scattered or dehydrated, guess what? Your channel, it gets fuzzy. It's like trying to tune into a station, right? Like you're sitting there trying to tune into like remember those old radio ones, and you catch the static instead of like the soul kind of like the soul channel that really wants to kind of come through. So this is where your vessel really matters. Your body's not just a container, it's this living, breathing antenna, and it transmits and receives like really beautiful, subtle frequencies all the time. And especially in the spiritual work, like accessing the Akashic records. So when you nourish it, when you hydrate it, when you rest it, when you clear it, you enhance its ability to kind of receive this high frequency information. I just want to go a little bit deeper into hydration for a moment. So I kind of touched on it earlier last week. You may have heard of Veda Austin. So she's a water researcher from New Zealand who's done like some amazing, groundbreaking work in the consciousness of water. And so her experiments involve freezing water and then photographing them, like the ice crystals, to start to reveal images. And they're not like these random images, but these like really highly specific, often in direct response to like words, to music, tensions projected into the water. The one that I've got there, sorry, it's not really clear, but that was the one of Akashic Records. So you can kind of see like in here, like all the like, you know what it looks like, Candace? You know how you said Egyptian? It feels like the kind of not hydro, but like the glyphics. Is it glyphics? The glyphs? Like kind of thing. But when I went to her work, she actually zoomed right in and she could like break it right down into like it looked like coding almost as well. So this isn't just like beautiful, right? It's mind-blowing because it shows us that water actually holds memory and responds to energy. And when we think of our body, it's made up over 80% of water. So what do you think happens when you start to hydrate with intention before opening the records? What you end up doing is you're starting to prepare your internal waters to receive, to reflect, and transmit the information encoded in the Akashic field. Most of the time, you'll see me in a lot of mine. I'll be drinking water all the time, like I'm just taking little sips and just constantly hydrating, because when we look at water in this sense, it's not just physical, it's spiritual. So it's a medium, and it's this beautiful mirror and a conductor of divine wisdom that's wanting to come through. So before you open the records, I really want you to tend to your body like the sacred temple that it is, and just drink that water. Breathe deeply, ground your energy into the earth. And what you do is you start to become a really conscious receiver. And so this is all about just aligning your body, your mind, and your spirit. So when you do open up the records, like your whole system is ready to receive clearly, and powerfully as well. Some people.
Quick question. I drink lemon in my water all day. I drink lots of water, but
Yes.
it just has one lemon slice, which is the same one I was all day. Does that affect this? Does it have to be
No, that
water?
should be wonderful. Like, I even put, like, what you're doing is you're putting a bit of electrolytes. You know, if you could put a little bit of salt or lemon into your water, fantastic. And if that's like a way to help you drink more water, then it's fine, Mon. I'm a little bit hesitant about carbonated water, just because of the carbon. I'm not a massive fan of carbon, but that's only sometimes, because I know the soda stream at homes are pretty good. The ones in the shop, some have chemicals in them. And the carbon like isn't great. Like it's what's the word? It's acidic. So the carbon is actually acidic. So what you're doing is you're actually making your body slightly acidic when you drink carbon water. Yeah. Sorry, I thought I saw you pop your Angelica. No, you're good. Okay, cool. So before we open the records, one thing that keeps coming through is like to open the channel via the elements. So what we do is we ground ourselves and we ground into the earth and we align into the natural rhythms that has been guiding us for so many, many centuries. I want to say before humanity, but this is where we kind of begin to kind of shift into a really sacred space. It feels quite shamanic when I think about it, but one of the ways I love to do it is through a short kind of shamanic style opening prayer, which is just inviting the 5 elements. So the earth, the water, air, fire, and spirit. And each of these elements holds its own frequency in medicine. And when we consciously welcome them in, what they do is they actually start to harmonize our inner world and help our channel kind of become that clear, coherent, open vessel that it needs to be. So it's not just this kind of like ritual. It's actually just a form of like energetic alignment, really. And so it's like tuning your inner compass, or again, talking about that radio, just clearing that static on the radio. So what flows through from the Akashic records is really clean, really grounded, and really clear, with your in alignment with your truth and what needs to come through. So each element supports. So the earth brings grounding and connection to your body. The water helps emotions flow and opens up your intuition. The air, it clears a lot of the mental chatter and brings in spaciousness. The fire activates a lot of your courage and the fire within and the heart energy. The spirit connects us to like our higher wisdom and source energy as well. And so this is something I personally use every time I open up the records. And feel free to, make it your own, change the words, adapt the intention, or just infuse like your own language in it as well. There's no right way to do it, and it can be really simple, but the intention is what matters most, right? So, but I do encourage you to kind of include some kind of like centering practice or invocation. And it doesn't have to be long. Like it can just be a moment just to orient your energy and signal to the field that you are entering into a sacred space. So I'll take you through what I do, and I'm happy to share this with you guys as well. But yeah, so the prayer that I use is I open up the directions and then I align with all the elemental energies as well. So it is quite shamanic in that space. But yeah, so what I generally say is like I call in, let's just do it now. We'll put our hand on our heart and one on our belly. And we're just going to call in the sacred elements to prepare our bodies and spirit for the Akashic field, because we are going to open up the Akashic records in a moment. So, which is perfect. So, earth, anchor me, ground my body in the present moment. May I be steady, supported, and rooted in truth. Water, cleanse me. Let your flow soften any resistance. May my emotions move freely and gently. Air, clear me. Open the space around and within me. May my mind be light, open, and inspired. Fire, ignite me. Burn through old energy and let the flame of transformation happen within my heart. Spirit, surround me. Connect me to Source, to my higher self, and to the wisdom of the Akasha. I open my vessel with love, I attune with reverence, and I receive humbly. And may this practice be sacred. May this be pure, and so it is. So you can see how it's just orienting. It's like I'm here on earth. This is my north, and I'm calling in the north, the south, the east, the west, and all the elements that kind of orient. And it's just like the channel. It's like allowing the elements to kind of come through your channel, and you're the compass on the inside. So if you I'll share this anyway, so you can have it and you can adapt it. But I know there's a lot of like shamanic kind of like, wheel of the medicine wheel that they use, but it doesn't need to be really long, lengthy. It can just be really short and sharp. And I'll talk about it a little bit later, but if we can, for the next 30 days, if we just open up our Akashic records and we just do this for the next 30 days, and what you'll notice over time is like it'll form into something different for you and specific for you. But you can use this just as the foundation and adapt it as you move on and go through it as well. So I want to talk a little bit about, sorry, anyone wanted to share anything more about like thing that came through from doing, like I know, Mon, you do a lot of shamanic work as well, and you've been in service a few times. Is there anything that you want to share that? No, you don't have to.
Yeah, I liked what you did. I thought they were a beautiful choice of words, and particularly what you were invoking in each of the elements. I thought it was really beautiful and it's aligned with the practices that we have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. So I just want to talk about harmonizing your system, feminine and masculine energy. So again, we're going back into receivership, right? So to receive clearly from the Akashic records, you need more than just an open heart, a prayer, a process. You need an inner container that can hold and direct what actually kind of comes through. And that's why we kind of like call in the energies of the elements in. And I want to also talk about balancing your feminine and masculine energies, because this becomes really essential. And I know most of you are very aware of like the feminine energy is the flow. So it's like the receptive, intuitive, emotional kind of energy. And it's that part of you that really surrenders, that feels and listens. And this is the channel where you allow all those messages and insights and energetic downloads to start to come in and to arrive as well. It's like the cup, like the masculine is the container, right? Is the cup that kind of catches the rain. And so the masculine energy is then the container. It's the structure, the direction, the groundedness. It's the part of you that really holds space for the flow. It's the part that sets the boundaries, that stays present and focused, so that information coming through doesn't overwhelm or scatter you. And together, these energies create a really sacred container they're really stable. It's a rooted space where intuition can really kind of safely flow, and where the records can be received and integrated really clearly in your system as well. When your system is too much in the feminine, you might feel like you might start to feel everything at once. Like it might be so overwhelming for your senses, and you might actually really struggle to make sense of it. When it's too much in the masculine, what may happen is that you may try to control or force the process, which actually blocks that natural flow. And so then the sweet spot, the Goldilocks spot, is like a harmonized energy system where your feminine receives and your masculine holds. And this is where your channel is the most strongest. So even just checking in and just with your system and how it feels like before you enter the records, it's like, am I open to receive feminine? Am I actually grounded enough to hold what I receive? So that's your masculine. And when these two energies are in a relationship, not in competition or not imbalanced, your channel becomes really so reliable and so powerful in that way too. So this is how you start to kind of co-create with the records, not just kind of like by reading them, but being in conscious relationship with what they have to offer, because you are in harmony as well. So some of the rituals like I really want to kind of talk about is, and I know most of you do this, but it came through from the transmission. So even if it's just like a little trigger, just to help you kind of like bring that back into your awareness, because when you start to have your system harmonized, you're a very clear channel, and what happens is that you become less kind of reactive. You're very steady. You become less in your head and more in your body, and you don't want to control, and so you trust that channel. And so this kind of creates that energetic kind of foundation. So your rituals that you do on a day-to-day basis are like your sacred kind of like tuning fork, if you will. So I put in here like a morning grounding walk, and so that's just the masculine, and what that does is it kind of brings a lot of structure and rhythm. I know a lot of you might do meditation or breath work. That's that feminine. So if you can kind of like put the masculine and the feminine together, like journaling with intention. So writing is a really masculine kind of thing, but what actually comes through is a feminine flow. A really great practice is just even to sit down as like, what does my soul want me to know today? Liz Gilbert talks about this. She does what would love have me know today? And she has a lot of people kind of write in on her Substack. And I think it's such a wonderful way to start your day, because it's starting with a really feminine way of connecting to your feminine energy, and then structurally kind of writing it out as well. But yeah, what does my soul want me to know today is a really great way to kind of bring that harmony back into your body. And then lastly, talking about, hydration as well. And I just want you to put like, if in your comments of like, or even just share, like, what do you like to do? Because sometimes when we share how we kind of harmonize our systems within the group, then, other people might get ideas. Other people, it might trigger something for other people as well. So would anyone like to share what they kind of do to like harmonize them, or any kind of daily rituals that they found that really kind of bridges the masculine and feminine for them at the moment?
Yeah, I think for me, I probably need to do a little bit more masculine stuff.
Yeah.
Like adding maybe the walk a little bit more. I do work on quite a lot of like the stillness, and like I do my daily meditation every day, like Reiki master stuff.
Yeah.
So I do that like in the morning and night of every day. And then every time I sort of have a shower, like I feel like all the codes and the energy in the water. So that's like normally the shower, like being in water, is like my best form of like meditation and connecting kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool. So you feel the codes of the water coming down clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Cool.
always, like water's been really healing for me, like throughout like my whole life kind of thing.
Yeah.
And like going through like I had a lot of panic attacks and stuff like that, and I always just sat in the water. Like I sat in the shower and just felt like the water, like the energy of the water, it's like really helped me kind of thing.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like writing, I love writing too. So I suppose that's like a little bit of that, but yeah.
Yeah. Journaling, writing is like when you kind of like put the writing, like, actually structurally going, okay, I'm going to journal today. Like that's the masculine because that's the structure, and then the feminine kind of flow throughout that. So it's like the harmonization of your energies as well. And you're right, most of us are women and we're so intuitive. I'm the same, like so very much in the meditation, happy to kind of like sit there and, listen to the meditation or sit and stillness, do my kind of like, energy, protocols, but I'm like, I need more structure in my day as well.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've been really enjoying running, but running with like a meditation music in the background. So before I even start to go on my run, I'm connecting in with the divine and I'm just asking to like what do I need to know today and what messages do I need to receive? And so I'm just like allowing myself to think through things in a more meditative way versus like scattered thoughts. And fun thing that's been happening, and I don't know, I didn't realize there were this many coins still here in America, just let me say that. But I've been finding pennies. And here recently, it's been pennies. I found a penny, a nickel, and a dime, but I've like handfuls of them, like in the last 2 months. But every time I was thinking through something, and then I would pause and I would like write out in my notes section like the message I was receiving. And it's been really fun to kind of, it's almost like a game now, but it's been really fun because it to me balances the masculine doing and the feminine being.
Mm.
And so I've really just connected in that way. I think for me, I need to do more of that intention setting with like the energy of water or food and like just really going a little bit more slowly
Mm.
instead of allowing my day to control because I've been in a busy season. But like, I do want to be more intentional about honoring my body in that way, like before I take in nutrients of any kind. So thank you for the reminder.
Yeah.
And I'm the same way with water. Like water is so healing for me. And I too, I've had many panic attacks where the shower was like my safe place. So I really felt that whenever you said that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing, Candace. Yeah, and you're right, like in terms of that's why I like ocean swimming as well. There's something I feel like we came from the ocean. I've got to go back into the water and really immerse myself in it. And yeah, you're saying with walking and well, I don't run, I walk. Um, but yeah, in terms of opening up my intention before I set, go on for a walk. I'm and finding feathers and finding, little things. And you're right, like when you do find those little signs, it's like a little wink from the universe, almost saying, keep going. And yeah, if you can think about what you're actually, if you can remember what you were thinking about when you saw it, then that's just, another extra layer of the message there that needs to come through too. Yeah, so I just wanted to kind of bring that back into everyone's awareness, just as we kind of move through it, because the language of the Akashic records is where I kind of wanted to kind of go into, and we'll do a little activation about receiving after this. Um, the Akashic records, they don't really communicate in the way we're conditioned to expect, right? We're so used to logic, we're so used to linear answers, and I know you're most of you women, or all of you women, are very intuitive. But I just want to say that the soul doesn't speak in words. It speaks in light, it speaks in frequency, and it speaks in vibration. So you might get symbols or shapes or colors or sensations, and that's where it gets really interesting, because many of us have been kind of conditioned to doubt or kind of dismiss some of these forms of communication as they come through. And so in the Akashic field, you might kind of receive like a sudden image or a symbol, a wave of kind of color or some sort of emotion that you start to sense. Maybe it's just this deep knowing that drops in with no words at all. I get a lot of physical sensations in the body, or like you might actually get like a picture of a logo or a shape that really only holds memory, that you can decode as well. But the key is that you won't receive what your ego wants. So when you go in and ask a question, you'll receive what your soul is actually ready for. And that's the key. And we've got to remember that, because the ego wants to kind of like make logic, make reason, make it linear for us. But you know, when we're in the receivership, you know, our soul will start to give more information to us in ways, and it might just be one little snippet of the bigger picture, and it's just for us because that's all that we're ready to receive. But going back to what I was talking about earlier, is that when we're receiving and our channel is open, we might actually get more pieces of those puzzles. So it depends on how well your channel is kind of tended to, and how open it is to the information that kind of comes through. And that's why, you know, this kind of journey asks you to kind of be really open beyond what kind of feels familiar or logical, or even what you're used to intuitively as well. We're going to work that on, work together next week on like your Akashic soul language, which may be different to your intuitive language as well. But, you know, even through this whole process is like you're actually learning to receive in multidimensional language. And it's one that just lives beyond your mind. And this is why I was emphasizing it's so important to harmonize your nervous system, like grounding into the elements and using that to kind of call in the elements to kind of support you in a very kind of shamanic fashion, if you will. You want to kind of have a really neutral channel. And most of all, you just want to trust what comes through, even if it doesn't make sense as well. And even if it's like a set, you know, one of your clairs that you haven't maybe activated yet, but it's like showing you something different. You might get a smell or a taste in your mouth, something that you're just, you know, not used to as well. But what you're doing is you're kind of decoding. You're not decoding, sorry, the messages. You're just remembering how to listen on a soul level. And so the more open and relaxed and present you are, the more clearly it will start to flow as well. So I want to move into like a activation, just to kind of open the channel within. And so this is just going to be a really gentle activation to open you up. And I might even like pull this segment up and out so you can like use it again to kind of reconnect or clear any blocks as well. But yeah, so I invite you just to get comfortable in your chair. And close your eyes and place one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. And just let your breath slow down. And just taking a deep inhale and exhale with a sigh. And just invite your body just to soften, your shoulders to drop. Maybe let your jaw unclench a little. Just let your thinking mind just take a step back. And just hear my words as your own. To the beloved Akashic Light Council, I call upon you now. Thank you for your presence, your guidance, your wisdom. Thank you for helping me become a clear and open channel to receive the light of truth and remembrance. And I invite you just to feel their energy arrive gently, just coming into your field. I just want you to repeat after me, and you've all got your microphones on mute, so no one will hear you. So I want you to repeat after me out loud. I am safe to receive. I am worthy of receiving. I am open to the soul wisdom that seeks to meet me. I surrender my need to control, to know, to make sense. And I allow truth to rise in its own divine timing. I want you now to visualize a soft golden light spiraling down from source energy, weaving through your crown, flowing into your third eye, your throat, something's clearing, your heart, and just now gently through the rest of your body. Seeing it weaving and spiraling down through all the layers of your entire being. And knowing that this light is intelligent. It knows where to go. Let it soften and clear any old stories, tension, or resistance that tells you must do, that you must fix or prove to be worthy. And from here, on behalf of this group, in this space, I invite the Akashic Light Council to resolve and release all ancestral ties on the mother's dynamic, on the mother's lineage, and on the father's lineage. That relate to any of the programs we mentioned earlier that blocks receiving. Now I want you to speak out loud again. Can you repeat after me? I receive with grace, with trust, with reverence. I am here to remember. I am ready to hold what is mine. Receiving comes easily to me. I allow the flow of receiving. It is safe to receive. Just let this moment land. Feel your body, feel your heart. And just sit in the space for a few more breaths. And I want you now just to bring your code into your mind's eye. And let this just seal this activation. And know that you can come back to this code whenever you feel called to reconnect or clear any blocks. It's almost like layering this activation with your code on top, doing a layer on top. Beautiful. And when you're ready, you can come back into present moment. Open your eyes gently. Maybe have some water, whatever you need. Nice. So, amazing. Good, good, good. Neutrality is key. I really just want to talk about neutrality. When you're entering the Akashic records, like you're entering a field of non-judgmental consciousness. So this field doesn't kind of carry any opinion, any emotional weight or ego. It just simply reflects what is, what has been, and what could be. Excuse me. It is an honest mirror of the soul's journey. But here's where many kind of people get like tripped up, right? We're conditioned to analyze, to label, and to judge everything that we receive. We want it to make sense. We want it to feel good. We want it to confirm something that we already believe, and that's human. That's okay. But it doesn't work in the records. So in the Akashic field, truth often becomes like, it's a really silent, like it's not a silent, it's like a whisper. It's not like this lightning bolt of information that kind of comes through. And truth may not be what your conscious mind wants to hear. It actually might challenge your assumptions. It might arrive in really unfamiliar symbols. I remember getting like, oh goodness, like Nazi symbols. I was like, and because I had like certain conditions on that, I had to like peel that back and look beyond that. So I just want to share that, it might arrive in unexpected ways. And that's why neutrality, like being neutral, is everything. Being neutral doesn't mean disconnection by any means. What it means is that you're in receptivity mode. It means that you're being fully present without attaching a story or expectations to like what arises. And so when we start to bring emotional charge or fear or defensiveness or an agenda into the field, what it does is it kind of muddies the channel. It really kind of colors the message, and it pulls us out of resonance with the subtle kind of pure vibration of the Akashic truth. So instead, we need to kind of practice that surrender. We need to open our hearts and say, I don't need to know everything. I'm just here to receive what I'm ready for. And that's where the power lies, not in getting the answers that like fit our narrative, but in receiving those frequencies that start to reorient us to our soul's truth. So the Akashic records won't always speak to the question your ego is asking, but they will always respond to the need that your soul is carrying. So we've kind of got to leave our expectations at the door. Yeah, so it's not really about affirming some of your current beliefs. It's about receiving insight that serves your soul's highest path. So, you're tuning into a quite a delicate frequency. And so if you bring noise, like if you bring emotional baggage or urgency, like I've got to know this, what you do is you just distort the signal. And that's why we need to cultivate that neutrality. And when we kind of have that grounded, open channel, and I've got a really clear vessel, the more powerful your experience will be, and the more that you can start to open your awareness to it as well. So we're going to do a really cool exercise. So a lot of people talk about Akashic records and they're like, oh, it's just accessing your intuition and that. So we're actually going to do an exercise that you can kind of experience this firsthand. So I want you to ask yourself a question and I want you to write down a question. So I was just thinking like, what you could do. And I've just put a couple examples there, like, how can I better support myself this week? Or maybe because we're doing receiving, like maybe you could write down a question of like, how can I better receive? Or what do I need to work on to receive better? That could be a great one, a great question. But I've got a couple there if that doesn't resonate, that's fine. Could be like, what if you've got something kind of going on in your world and you've got to make a decision, like maybe it could be just, what does my soul want me to know about this decision? What do I most need to understand about where I am right now? So I just want you to find something that you could, just a question that you could ask just for fun. Keep it light if you can. for now. We can go deeper a bit later. Has everyone kind of got just give me a little kind of like thumbs up if you've got your question? Yeah, written down. Yeah, awesome. So what we're going to do is before we open up the Akashic Records, we're going to just have that question there. And I just invite you just even put your hand, your left hand over the question. So I want you to feel the vibration. So your left hand's receiving, feminine, placing your left hand over the question. And I just want you just to free write for the next couple of minutes and just allow your intuition to answer that question. I'll do this for another like 30 seconds or minute or so here. Just finish up what it's coming through. Nice. So how's everyone going? Okay, good. Yeah. So now we're going to open up the Akashic Records. Before we do that, I just want to talk to you a little bit about the prayer that I received. So I learned how to, like, the book that I read was from Linda Howe. She's an American lady that teaches how to read the Akashic Records. I really liked her process, but I noticed when I opened up the Akashic Records, the visual I kept getting was like these big kind of doors opening up. And like I couldn't see the top of the doors, like they were massive, they were huge. And it felt like I was like in this kind of like grid like kind of system, like this black kind of like no space or time, just black. And then there's like a grid underneath me, and then these big doors would open. And when I was working with her opening prayer, I would have to, it was almost like this table and chairs would kind of like plop in front of me, and then I'd have to wait for guides to come out of the door and come and meet me. And when I experienced that, I was like, okay, cool. Didn't think anything of it, thought that was normal. Like that's how I was experiencing the Akashic records. It got to a point where I was like, hold on, like if um I'm waiting for people to come out and I can't go into the Akashic records. I felt like I was like, but this is my Akashic records. Like I should be able to kind of go in and experience that. And so I spoke to my guides and said, look, is there another way to experience the Akashic records? Because it feels like it's very hierarchical, like it's like I can't go beyond this kind of point. And they said yes. And they said, close your records, get your pen and paper out. And what I ended up doing was almost like transcribing. I felt like one of them had kind of come through from like and was channeling through me this Akashic Light prayer. And once I opened up the Akashic Light prayer, I was like, same kind of visual. So I kind of like got like this kind of black space with a grid thing. The big doors kind of open, and it was a big kind of like golden light coming out from it. And I was like, cool. And I stood there and I like waited. And I was like, what's happening? Nothing happened. And I was like, and so I took like a step forward and nothing happened. And I took another step forward and nothing happened. And I was like, I can actually go through, and I'm going to walk through. And so I walked through the big door, and then I literally got, it was weird, but it was like this round of applause. And it was like this round of applause saying, we were waiting for you, Tara. And I was like, oh my goodness. So as soon as I went in, I was able to get a lot more information, more clarity, more like direct, like the guides would come straight up, like and show me books, like and show me symbols on the books. It was just incredible. So with that in mind, the way that I'm going to teach you is through the Akashic Light prayer. But I also want you to acknowledge that if you could do this for the next 30 days, just to attune yourself to the frequency of the Akasha, even if it's just opening it every day for the next 30 days and just sitting in it and not even asking a question. But if you feel like you want to ask a question, you can. But I want you then to take that and look at it and how you want to work with it after that. Again, I'm just giving you the foundation. I want you to flip your way of working with the Akasha, because the way that I work will be very different to the way you work. But I'm giving you some, at least a really basic foundation to work from. Some people use meditation, some people use sound, some people use movement. There's so many ways to access or open up your own Akashic records. I'll go through the prayer and why I use it, and you're more than welcome to keep using it if until you start to feel like this isn't resonating as such with me anymore. I want to shift and change maybe some of the wording. Please do. Like this is just this is a foundation, and then I want you to kind of like build from that for you, because your soul might need something different, might not. But I just want to preface that before I kind of talk about my process, because my process has evolved, and I want yours, I want you to be open and aware that yours can too. It doesn't have to be rigid and change. So I'm going to go through the Akashic Light prayer. So this is what I've got: an opening prayer, and then I've got a closing prayer. And the way that I kind of see it is that that's the container. So the opening prayer will open it, then I'll close it, and then what happens in the reading is the feminine. So I've got the masculine and the feminine that's kind of happening in it. So line one, so I do the a ground, and I call in the directions before. So I kind of set my vessel up first and foremost. And then I go into the prayer. And I generally will do this if it's reading for others. I will do it with them, the permission, unless I've opened it up numerous times and I get permission from their higher self. And I do that before, but we can talk about that when we read for others later on. But the first line is, I call upon the Akashic Light Council for the best and highest good. So what we're doing here is we're actually just setting the intention to be supported by benevolent beings, and only allowing in energy aligned with the highest truth. So what this is doing is it's like opening up the channel really safe, like in a really safe way. The second line is I call upon the protection of God's consciousness to encase me in love. This line is really about creating a protective field, and it's establishing that around you. So energetically kind of shielding your space with unconditional love, which kind of acts like this spiritual kind of force field, if you will. The third line is my heart's resonance is now in alignment with the Akashic light. What you are doing in this line, so each line feels like a little key, right? It's got a frequency. The words have frequency. And what you're doing here in this line, you're actually attuning your energy field to the vibrational frequency of the Akashic records. So you're activating your heart coherence to receive clearly and lovingly and openly. The fourth line is where it's where we say, I call upon the ascended masters, teachers, and loved ones to bathe me in 100% pure light and guide me towards. And this is where you use your name. So could just be your first name or your nickname, whatever you say. But what you're doing is that you're inviting specific spiritual guides who are already connected to you or the person that you're reading for. You're requesting their guidance in a deeply respectful way. The next line, number 5, is I request the records of, so you'll use your full legal name. So if you can use your middle name, I recommend it. So I request the records of, so mine's Tara Shireen Hegarty, to be opened. And so this is like it's a beautiful but formal opening. So again, it's like turning the key in the lock to actually open and access your specific records. The use of the full legal name, it creates an energetic signature for access. The 6th line is that my light be seen in the purest expression. So this is a declaration of authenticity, of vulnerability, and it's asking to be fully witnessed in your soul's truth without the distortion or ego. The 7th line is that divine wisdom be shared and imparted so I can be one with all that is. Now, this is a big one. It holds a lot of weight because what you're doing is you're actually inviting wisdom, not just for answers, but for reconnection. So to move closer to the unity consciousness and the essence of who you really are. You then have to repeat your name again if you want to use a full name. As long as you, what I've noticed, what they're saying, sorry, is that you can use your full legal name once in it if you feel. I've put it twice in there because that's what I started off with. But as long as you use your one full legal name in the opening prayer, they're saying that's okay as well. So this is the official activation. So this line signifies that the field is live and it's accessible. And from here, you can begin to ask your questions and receive insights. While we're here, I'll just talk about the closing prayer too, because at the end, after you've kind of asked your question, you received your answers, then you want to close it. So you want to open it, close it. The closing line of number 1, it says, I want to thank the ascended masters, teachers, and loved ones for their knowledge and wisdom. So always close in gratitude. This honors the unseen beings and reinforces that sacredness of the space. Again, we want to thank the Akashic Light Council for all their love and compassion. So this is just another layer of acknowledgement. And what it also is doing is it's like almost like sealing the space with a lot of reverence and humility as well. And then you want to, again, like lock the door, like turn the key. So, your full name records are now closed. So just as you kind of open the field, you must also close it. So this locks the energetic access and protects both you and say if you're reading for someone else, the person that you read for it as well. And then so it is, I know we've all heard this, but it's a very traditional kind of spiritual kind of closure. This affirms that the prayer is now complete and acknowledged across all realms, all timelines, all dimensions. So we are going to open up your Akashic records. And we're going to use the same question that you used before with your intuition. And we're going to open up the Akashic records and ask that question. So I'm going to read it out, but I want you now to, because you've all got your microphones on mute, to, when I say your name, just say your name out loud. And then I'll keep going through that. Cool. All right. Because we've done we've called in the directions. Let's open up the Akashic prayer together. So just hear my words as your own, okay? And then we'll insert your name where we need to. So I call upon the Akashic Light Council for the best and highest good. I call upon the protection of God's consciousness to encase us in love. Our heart's resonance is now in alignment with the Akashic light. I call upon the Ascended Masters, teachers, and loved ones to bathe us in 100% pure light and guide us towards, say your name, soul path. I request the records of your full name be opened, that your light be seen in the purest expression, and that divine wisdom be shared and imparted so you can be one with all that is. And say your name. Records are now open. I want you to hold here for a moment. Again, I just want you to allow your channel just to receive. Allow your body, your senses, your heart attune to the frequency of the Akasha field. Just allow your body just to relax and settle into the frequency. Notice any sensations or colors, or just even noticing and attuning to the frequency and just feeling your way through and what it's showing you. If nothing's coming through, that's okay. Just trust that you're sitting in the frequency and your body's just almost remembering. It's retuning. I invite you now just to place your left hand over the same question. And I want you now to allow the information to flow, answering it from the Akasha. You need to just take a deep breath in and out and just, if you need to keep attuning, just settle into that space and just take your time here. If nothing's happening, you can just allow your heart just to receive, just inviting your heart, so that's a portal into the space, just to receive. And even just affirming, I'm open to receive. Through the Akasha, through my heart, is enough to allow that. when you're ready, just take a moment just to start to answer that question on the bit of paper. And so placing your left hand onto the question and just start to scribe what needs to come out. We'll just give it a couple more minutes here. All right, let's close the records off working together and we can come in and share our experience together as a group. So again, I just want you to place your hand on your heart, one on your belly, and hear my words as your own. I want to thank the Ascended Masters, teachers, and loved ones for their knowledge and wisdom. I want to thank the Akashic Light Council for their love and compassion. And say your name. Records are now closed, and so it is. I just want you to almost like disconnect from it, whichever way you need to. I sometimes like even rub my hands together. It's just like I'm kind of, that shows me I'm finished, I'm done. Amazing. When you kind of look back, I want you to look back across your two kind of notes that you kind of put down or received. I just want you to take a read over of what your intuition came and what you got from your intuition. And as you're reading over it, just notice like, how did the voice kind of like, how was it received in your mind? You know, did it feel like when it was received, it was not harsh, but like, was it, what kind of tone did you receive it in? And just even noticing what that kind of felt like. And even just tuning into like, maybe even looking at how it was worded as well. And now I want you to look at what came through from the Akashic records. And when you opened up your Akashic records, and notice what tone that was coming through as. If there's any differences or subtle changes or the way that it may have kind of come across, even like in your mind, like how the voice sounded. Did it sound different? Did it sound just take note of like any kind of differences or even similarities that like came through. Because the whole idea of this exercise is to show you like, when your intuition comes through, like I did mine, which was, what did I need to help better receive right now? My intuition was like, you need to do this. You need to work on consistency, community, like all these things. I was like, oh, that's interesting. And when I go into the Akashic records, it's like, dear one, listen to your heart. And it came through in a very, very different tone. But it felt like it was, someone that didn't have, again, coming from a neutral kind of space. And when I read it, like my body feels so much more like, oh, like when I read the one from my intuition, I've got to do this, this, and this, and this. My whole body goes tense. But when I go in the Akashic records, I'm like, oh, I need to do this. It's like, thank you. It's a very different message that came through. So I'm curious to hear what experience you each had by doing that exercise, by your intuition versus your Akashic records. Anyone like to share what came through for them?
Mine was similar to you, Tara, where it was like very directive as an intuition. You have to do this, you have to do that. Whereas the Akashic records, I was saying it's more like a wisdom, like a wise elder, or like, when you do plant medicine, grandfather sits with you and he's gentle.
Yes. Yeah.
It was more like that and so much more like profound.
Yeah. Did you find that had different layers to what was coming through as well?
Yeah.
Different perspectives?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The intuition almost felt like, looking back at it now, it feels a bit 3D, whereas the Akashic records feel 5D.
Yeah, interesting. That's a great way to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else want to share? Yeah.
I can relate as well. Mine was very much like the wise elder sort of voice, because I saw my pop come in, who I'm pretty sure is one of my guides, and I saw his face so clearly, and it was like escalators. So that was really cool. And then I saw my grandmother, but it was much more in depth. Whereas like before it was like, oh, you need rest, you need to eat better, you need to do same sort of like tone. And then it was like, honey, you need to go out in the nature, and Corinne, you must go out in the sunlight. You need to be in the sunlight. Like, you need to ground your energy and, blah, blah, blah. And it was just so much softer. And like you said, like your body kind of melted into those words and felt like you understood it on a different level. But yeah, it was in a totally different tone in my head. But yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thanks for sharing. Yeah.
It's similar for me. Like the information was actually like quite the same
Yeah.
on both of them. It was just the intuition versus the record like information that came through. Like the record ones was definitely like deeper and much more like softer kind of thing. Even though it was sort of like similar, or what, like the information that came through, it was just the slight difference kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's amazing. And even if it is similar, but there's this difference and this softness that, what that does is it allows your nervous system and your body to receive that information in a different way too. So yeah, that's interesting, like, for you just to note as well how it comes through.
Yeah, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And my experience was really unique in that, like, I saw a forest first before anything. And I was like about to start writing, and it was like, no, you need to just be receiving right now. Not like in a harsh way. It was definitely and I had really high frequencies ringing in my ears like the whole time, like the highest I've ever heard. And it was really cool because, like you said, the messages were very similar,
Mm.
but my feeling and the way that I felt connected, it was like I felt like I was home. Like I
Mm.
felt like I was part of, because I feel like, being intuitive, like especially really being out in the world with it, sometimes you can feel so isolated, and I felt so seen, held, and I always feel that way when I'm tuning into the divine energy, but this was like a much more expanded version of
Mm.
that.
Mm. Yeah,
Well,
amazing.
right as much right as much, but I definitely felt just really unique, cool experience.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you for sharing. I love how you saw the forest and then you were just attuning and receiving. That's really beautiful. Yeah. Tanya, what was your, how'd you go?
Um, I just was kind of free writing with the intuition, and even though the visuals are coming through, it just flowed out of my hand without me really thinking too much about it. I was kind of writing it as I was realizing what I was writing, while in the records, it felt more matter of fact. Like, not that I question the intuition, but the matter, it's kind of like as if there was a voiceover of a narrative, like someone's narrating the story, but I didn't hear the voice. It's just a feeling of like the energy came from a higher place, or it definitely didn't come from any spirit guides that I would normally feel like my energy information's coming from. So even though it was also a visual image, there was a hierarchy to it. That's kind of how it felt compared to the flow of the intuition felt more flowing, while this felt like it's hard to explain. Is it more of a feeling of facts, even though the intuition felt facts, there was more flow to it. This just felt like there's no question.
Ah,
That's it.
yeah, amazing. And maybe that's that, when you're calling in the Akashic Light Council and your ascended masters, teachers, and loved ones, and they're adding in their perspectives and it's coming through that one channel. Maybe it's like that's how you're receiving, in particular to that question, right? Because that's the intention that kind of
Yeah, to
overarches you
receive. Yeah.
receiving it as well. So maybe it was the fact that you, based on that question and that intention that you put in, that you needed to hear maybe a bit of matter of fact
Yeah, I think also too,
information
if
as
I was
well.
to get my intuition to get into work, it comes straight through the crown, and I
Mm.
set up a purpose for that. But this felt like in when we were opening the records, I could feel it all in the back of my head and at my shoulders. So it was showing me a different way of where the energy comes in to receive it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then that's how I knew I was there.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes.
Great. And these little intricacies that you'll notice when you start to do this, by yourself, is just take notice of what you're feeling, what's happening, what you're sensing. Yes, rely on some of like your key clairs to really guide you, but also tune into the other clairs as well. And we'll go through that with the Akashic kind of language a little bit later on. But yeah, I really feel that having just this experience of like feeling what it feels like, intuition versus Akashic records, that you've got some sort of like little comparison to kind of go from. But as you kind of time moves on, like you'll start to notice that energy kind of starting to amplify and attune. Your body will start to tune to that quite quickly as well. So one thing that came through is like, even if it's just every day for the next 30 days, because we're together for 8 weeks, right? So if we can do it for the next, even if it's just opening up your Akashic prayer in the morning just to receive, to attune, and you've only got 5 minutes to do that, I highly recommend, when what you're doing is your overtime, you're just attuning to it. When you kind of allow yourself to kind of attune for consistently over a little period of time while we're doing this work, by the time we get to like reading for others, then you'll feel like that attunement to the records will be, you might, if that's where you want to go, that you can start to work with that on a different level. So it's really important that you kind of like open your records for yourself first for the next 30 days. And by the time we've kind of, worked on that, then that next kind of layer of, reading for others or bringing that into your practice or how you work can kind of we can start to layer that into it at the end as well. I know we've gone over time, but I've also got like a couple things around give me a thumbs up if you want to keep going, or thumbs down. And I'm happy because this will still be, and I don't mind if people need to drop off and go, but it's just 2 more slides, if anything. But I just wanted to explain who we're connecting in with, like, as well. So the Akashic Light Council. So when I attuned to the Akashic, got shown the Akashic Light Council, it's a spiritual kind of collective made up of ascended beings that are aligned with the purest frequency of love and truth. Their role is to hold the integrity of the Akashic records. So they kind of feel like almost like gatekeepers, if you will. They are the ones that like, it's kind of like the circle there. It's just they kind of like the way that they come through is very much in like a council, kind of like, if you could kind of think of like a table of a council kind of coming around. And your Akasha kind of there in the middle. And I guess that's the kind of visual representation that I wanted to give you of the Akashic Light Council. They're here to really support your soul's evolution in the most loving, most joyful, most reverent way possible. And that's what you're receiving, like in the records, of sometimes those perspectives that come from a very kind of like dear one, or they're using your names, like Karina, remember you just said like they're using your first name, so they're addressing you. Like they're supporting your soul's evolution, and they know how to connect with you at a soul level. It's not like you need to do this. It's like, Corinne, like you need to, this is where you need to look, and guide you that way. So they're just these beautiful gatekeepers between like your human experience and yet this broader soul level information. So, there's an aspect of your soul having the experience now in this lifetime. But when you access your soul and your records, you're accessing the soul and all lifetimes and all dimensions and all realities. So they are the gatekeepers for that experience for you to kind of tap into, depending on what your intention is as well. So when you open up the records and you call in the Akashic Light Council, what you're doing is you're just inviting only this highest level of consciousness in, and so that the energy that you access is really safe, it's pure, it's aligned with your truth, and it doesn't have any fear or distortion around it. And they don't take over. They always co-create with your soul. They always work with it. So I always want to explain that you are always in charge of your own sovereignty. And so they'll just be guiding you and giving you information. So that information, that insight or that perspective is something that you can then act on if you choose to. Because they are ensuring what you receive is just for your best and highest good as well. So yeah, it's kind of like a filtering system, if you will, if anything. And just lastly, just ascended masters, teachers, and loved ones. So we kind of begin by calling in these three core groups of guides that really just hold your soul's story and your evolution as well. So ascended masters are what we call enlightened beings who have kind of like walked the earth. They've transcended the cycle of reincarnation. They carry immense compassion and wisdom. So think like Jesus, Mary Magdalene, Buddha, Kuan Yin, Saint Germain. Though your connection to others, you might have connection to others too, but what they're doing is they're offering universal guidance, they're offering like soul activations, and they're offering a lot of deep energetic healing as well. So what you notice when you go into their records, there's this softness that's happening and you're tuning to your frequency. And even, that's what I'm saying, even if you just open up your records for 5 minutes a day, what you're doing is you're just getting this deep energetic healing, and you don't have to do anything. You can just open it and sit in it, and you can close it off and just be grateful and say thank you very much. Teachers are non-physical beings who guide you through lessons and soul contracts. So they will hold the neutral truth of your journey. So there's they're not emotionally involved, but they're really supportive. What I find with teachers, they really help you understand the why behind a lot of the patterns, the relationships and experiences. So they will come in and give you the reasoning and understanding behind, say, a certain relationship dynamic that you might be wanting to find out more information about. Loved ones are souls that you've known and loved in this lifetime or other lifetimes. So sometimes they're your ancestors, sometimes they're family, friends, or even soul companions that you haven't even met yet. Because remember, your soul's non-linear, so, and you're accessing your soul records, past, present, future. So you could be actually accessing, a loved one from, the future timeline as well. But their presence is so warm, it's so encouraging and grounding, and they always remind you that you're never alone. And yeah, like, Corinne, you had was it your grandfather? Yeah, come through. And so, yeah, he's, obviously one of your guides, one of your loved ones that's coming through as well. So I just wanted to kind of explain who you're calling in and what they are as well. Amazing. So next week, we're going to talk about just asking powerful questions and finding your own Akashic language. So we're going to dive into like how to ask really clear, aligned questions, help you recognize the unique way that your soul receives answers. So whether that's through visuals, feelings, words, or knowings, and other symbols and other kind of archetypes or things like that need to kind of come through. So we'll work through that next week. But yeah, until then, I just highly recommend you just using that Akashic Light prayer. So did everyone get information, access to the portal? Have they been able to get all of that? Because I'll put
I just haven't downloaded anything yet.
Yeah, cool. So
I'll put in stuff, so it's there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's the Akashic Light Prayer PDF download that I'll pop in there as well. And I'll also upload after today the shamanic one as well, so we can use that. But yeah, I invite you just to download that and start to kind of use that each and every day if you can, even if it's just for 5 minutes, just a little commitment to self. Because yeah, that tuning, is just like a tuning fork for you, and allow yourself to really resonate with the Akasha field as well. And that allows, any of those questions that you experience in real time to be answered in Voxer. So if there's certain things that are coming up that you're experiencing, like reach out. And so, yeah, so over the next kind of like 30 days, if we do that, then you're getting the learning, the understanding, and every other week that we kind of work together with, next week, especially with the questions and your own Akashic language, is just going to add another layer on top of it and able to build from there as well. Amazing. Thank you all so very much. Sorry we ran over time, but my I think my camera's gone funny, but whatever. Thank you all. I appreciate you all for coming on and yeah, having your first experience with the Akashic Light Prayer.
Thank you. That was
Thanks,
awesome.
Thank you.
That's okay.
So beautiful.
I'll speak to you all in Voxer, okay? Yeah.
Thank you,
Amazing.
Tara.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.